You want to? So, my name is Jayne, and I worked for the LA County Coroner's Office from 2009 to 2015, and um, moved from there to the LA County General Hospital. Sorry, first time I've done a live, so I'm a little bit nervous. But and I retired from the county altogether in 2023. So I've been in the nursing field as well as in the coroner's office for the county. Anyway, where do you want me to start?
Okay, well, I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat and thank them for coming in. I think this is going to be pretty exciting. As she just said, she's Jayne from the Los Angeles County. She's worked there and the other places that she mentioned. And we're going to go over some of her experiences, some of her what she's seen. She's seen a lot. And I just want to say that you have sent me so much stuff through the email, so many emails that actually your Gmail crashed. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna say because you guys, she sent me everything. I mean, photos of her experiences down there, and I said stuff I've never seen before, and probably some stuff I probably can't show. And I'm not sure how much I'm going to show tonight, because we're gonna hopefully have Jayne back again. We'll see how it goes tonight, and I think we're going to have fun. And I found out that Jayne has worked with somebody I've been a big fan of for many, many years, and that would be Scott Michaels. If anybody's aware of Dearly Departed Tours, I was shocked to hear that you know him and have worked with him, and he's your good friend. Is that true?
Yep.
Yeah, he said, go ahead, you can tell us maybe a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything. The only thing I have concerns about for you is using the MUDER word or the SUI.
Right. Yeah.
So I'll if for the I'll use self cancel
Yeah.
instead of that word, and then we'll figure it out as we go along. But I'll try to avoid using anything that might get you docked.
Yep. That I try to avoid those words myself. And sometimes I just say when they passed or whatever. We'll try to keep it in terms of service. We will, I guess. But yeah, so we got. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say when they join the choir invisible.
The invisible choir. So as a sound, I just want to make sure everybody in the chat can hear us. If you want to give us a sound check, and then we'll keep going. I just want to make sure everybody can hear. So
and I can't see the chat, so I'll rely on Kathy for any questions.
Yeah, actually, we will. Grace said the audio is great, so that's good.
Oh, good. Hi, Grace. Amazing Grace.
Yeah. So let's start. How did you get into the medical examiner job? I guess you're administrator, but how did that come about?
Well, I worked for Dearly Departed Tours for many years, and we used to rely on Chief Craig Harvey for a lot of information. So if we needed to know their clarification or confirmation of dates, events, that sort of thing, he was my contact person. So we just got to know him really well, and then we started going to cemeteries together, as you do, and so I applied and got the job, and there I was. So it was a very happy part of my career, and I started off in notifications. So I was that person who became part of the worst day of your life. So I let you know when your was gone, and that was kind of a bummer. And of course, I also worked in we called it identification. So we'd get people in who their thumb or their fingerprints didn't match their IDs, and they were usually people from other countries that were using false identification. And so when they would pass, we couldn't identify them. So it would be quite a feat to figure out who they were. And sometimes we never did. And they would go into the unclaimed department, and we would, search as much as we could. And then they would be cremated, and then they'd wait on a shelf for 3 years. And then every December we hold a ceremony for unclaimed burials. And there's the LA County Crematory, which is in Boyle Heights, and part of the Evergreen Cemetery. And so people can come and just because somebody's unclaimed doesn't mean they're unidentified. So people who couldn't afford, they were indigent, their family members could come and see the service there. And it's a very nice service. And they just dig a big trench and they line it with cremation boxes and fill it in and put a date marker on it, and their names go in a ledger. And if you want to come there, if family members are discovered after the fact, they can come and visit them there. So there's that. And then also property. And there's not much to say about that other than, anybody who comes in, their property goes into a bag and is labeled and put on a shelf. And I would say the most interesting thing about that is going into that department and just all the bags lining the shelves like library books, really. And you could just hear cell phones going off in those bags, which is,
Wow.
I can't even describe how that makes you feel, but you could probably imagine that. So, because, that happens. And,
Right.
and then after that, I moved on to disaster, which, whenever there would be anything like a plane crash or, some sort of mass death incident, we would have to send out disaster, and they would come in, and we'd have a rolling suitcase full of PPO, PPO, the gear for like a suit, that kind of stuff, gloves, special equipment. And that was the same office that I worked in with the human remains detection dog, commonly known as the I'm sorry, again, just a little bit of nerves, but Indiana Bones, and they stopped that program when Indy died in 2018. The human remains detection dog. But anyway, so that's I think that's about it for that. So anyway, yeah. What else you want to know?
Okay, now, yeah, you're doing great. It's just talk like you and I are talking on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, don't even think about being on here if you could. So you sent me those pictures, and well, actually, I'm going to back up. I just showed because I am a big fan. I've been a big fan of Scott Michaels since
there he is.
2000. Yeah, there is his Dearly Departed. I have Volume 1, 2, and The Helter Skelter. I've seen every one. I've run him over and over. I've just been a big fan of his, and so I was just, it was amazing that you know him personally.
Yeah.
And so because I, just like him, I am fascinated with this stuff. And what's really interesting is when it gets to the Hollywood or the celebrities and stuff like that. And so you started there at the morgue, notifying people that their loved ones have passed, and that must have been terrible. But,
that part of it was. I mean, for me, when the decedents would come in on intake, again, just a little bit of nerves. They would be photographed, their clothing would be logged, their property would be logged. They would do a bunch of identification stuff, and I would go down and I would collect their toe tags and any paperwork that came in, police report or that sort of thing, fire department. And so I would take their paperwork and I would go back to my desk and start dialing. And, heartbreaking. Sadly, more often than not, the people on the other end of the phone would say, that's terrible. Did they have any money on them?
Oh
Which,
no.
it's
Oh,
sad, but it's LA County. It's the largest coroner's office in the United States.
yeah.
And
Oh boy.
you go to the coroner's office for if there's a suspicious death or on,
Right.
they weren't under any
Unnatural.
yeah, unnatural. And
Mhm.
they so a lot of times it was gang related or something like that. I mean, it was always something nefarious.
Wow.
Not always, but I mean, if you died at home in a heart attack and you weren't under a doctor's care, you would go there for initial examination. And the morgue is different than the coroner's office. The morgue is usually medically supervised, and the decedent
Oh,
will be sent there, and they'll be looked over for preliminary. And if they're under doctor's care, then they pretty much know if it was a heart attack or
right.
stroke or something like that. So that the doctor there would sign off on the death certificate. So if it's an suspicious death or unusual death, they have to go to the coroner's office for a full examination, and not always
Hmm.
full. If your head comes off, there's not much
Yeah.
about why they died. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Um,
but drug related, that sort of thing.
yeah. So you sent me so many pictures, and I was just amazed at. First of all, I was amazed at the amount of bodies that are in there. I would have never imagined that many people are in there. I mean, just wow. And then, does it smell in there? Just
Absolutely.
curious. Okay.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean,
I was just.
I hate
I
to
don't
say
know.
you get used to it. It's always worse on a Monday morning, when you would come in after the weekend, because the employees there over the weekend are far less than during the week. And some of the bodies that would come in, they would stack them up for, they didn't start working on them until Monday. And so you could smell them coming through the drains in the parking lot.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
Monday morning when there was a lot. So that the big crypt, which I sent you a couple pictures of, and you're welcome to show those. They don't violate any HIPAA laws or anything
Okay.
like that.
Good. Good. Good.
As long as you can't identify a decedent by their face or anything, you can show
Right.
that. But it holds 500 decedents with 75 rolling racks, with decedents on those as well. So it's
Yeah.
bigger than any. It's like a Costco building inside.
It was.
Yeah,
Yeah. It is. I saw the pictures and I'm just like, wow. So it is the largest in the United States.
yeah,
It's
yes, it
the
is.
largest ME. Okay.
And
Um.
it will dispel the myth that the bodies are in body bags. They're not. We wrap them in a heavy plastic, and then they're tied in three places with light duty rope. And the plastic
Yeah.
comes on a giant roll, and they cut off a certain length, and then they wrap the bodies in that. And then you can see through the plastic, and they go on to whatever they're going to have done there, and then they're
Yeah.
released to mortuaries or wherever they're going to go.
And then, not to get too graphic or anything, I even saw some bags that were probably maybe partial bodies.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. Wow.
yeah. Sometimes it's just a torso, sometimes it's just a head, sometimes it's scraps.
Uh, so yeah. So I watched the video. Now there's a video on YouTube. I'm wondering if Grace, I sent you that video. I'm wondering if you could put that up, the link to that up. I'm going to show the video on the screen, and this
Sure.
was Jayne's boss, correct?
Yep, Chief Coroner Craig Harvey, and he's retired. He retired when I did. We both left at the same time.
Okay, let me pull this up so you can see it. Let's see here. I will show it on the screen. There it is. There. So there it is. There is her
Yep.
boss,
Yes. Still a
and
very good friend.
still a very good friend. You spoke to him today, didn't you?
I did. I spoke to him today, and like I said, I asked if he'd be interested in talking even for a few minutes, but he's not well, and he wasn't up to it today. But that doesn't mean he's not up to it in the future.
Okay, and so I listened to this, and yeah. So I'd love to speak to him, and your friend Scott, Scott
Yes,
Michael. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'll ask him too, and he's a pretty good sport, like I told Kathy, and he's likely to give us some time. He often does a lot of interviews and talks a lot about mostly about is the Sharon Tate, the Manson murders.
yeah,
Big
yep.
authority on that.
Yeah, well, actually, so in this clip here, well, in this video that I just showed you a little bit of, he does talk about Michael Jackson's death, Conrad Murray being there, coming to there. I can't remember if he went to the hospital, whatever, how he acted a little shady. And
Yeah.
just really interesting to hear it from somebody on the inside like that. Yeah, so thank you, Grace. Grace, just put up the link.
Okay, yeah,
that.
Michael Dorsey. He does a podcast and a YouTube channel called The Murder Rap. And there are other interviews with Craig Harvey there as well. They're older. The link that I sent you was his most recent one, and he'll do more with Mike Dorsey as well. But no, he's a fascinating interview.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had mentioned earlier that there are a lot of bodies that go unclaimed, and is it every year annually that you have annually? So every year, the office would give them a nice burial, put them to rest in the cemetery. Is that what cemetery? It was a regular cemetery?
The LA County Crematory. It's attached to the Evergreen Cemetery in Boyle Heights in California. And the first Wednesday of December every year. And it's they inter cremation boxes 3 years prior. So if we did it December 2026, they would be decedents from December 2023. And in the course of my years there, I had, because I grew up somewhat in that area, it's 6 miles from me. I was there for school friends, childhood friends, a couple of relatives. So yeah, that's an interesting thing too. And Facebook friends too. I mean, people you never meet, and they would come into the LA County Coroner's office, and if I could, I would go down and at least say goodbye.
Yeah, but that is nice to know that when they're unclaimed, they don't just they do get a proper ceremony at least.
A very nice service. Very nice service.
Yep, and they're recognized.
Yes. They have different religions represented. So you'll get Buddhist, Jewish, Catholic, Christian. They have a lot of different, even Native American. So it's a very nice service.
Nice. So that's nice. That's stuff that we don't hear about, most of us anyway, and things that we don't really think about. So, when you first started, was it a little harder being in there, and did you get used to it, or is there certain cases that affect people, or how is it? How do people deal emotionally? You just kind of get used to it.
Yeah, and like Craig says in his video, it's a dark humor. That that job is the most fun you can have without laughing. So some of the cases that come in have been pretty unusual. So mostly we look at it scientifically. The very first day that I went to work, I'd seen, because I spent a lot of time in cemeteries, I had seen a lot of how can I say it? Different things without actually having to see the bodies. So,
Mm-hmm.
so when I went to the coroner's office, it wasn't a big leap, except when you saw
Mm-hmm.
somebody, in the very first day, I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if I can do this. And Craig said to me, look at it scientifically and it'll take on a whole different meaning, which was absolutely true. So you start looking at it
Yes.
scientifically, and we had some unusual cases. I remember one decedent came in, he had been murdered. He had two penises, so a birth defect.
Wow. Wow.
And I didn't send you that picture, but yeah. So I mean, a lot of unusual things, and you learn that people who are murdered, the people who murder them, sometimes they keep souvenirs. They cut off bits to take as souvenirs, and which is weird, but it's a
Yeah.
possessive thing. And I dealt with a lot of suicides. So I would
Yeah.
say 7 to 10 almost daily. And so there was a lot of suicide notes, and of course I read all the suicide notes, and if they were people that were local to the area, sometimes those affected me quite a bit. And on my off hours, I would go to the cemetery and put flowers. It just made me feel better.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of cases like that. And then the suicide notes. It was interesting to um, see the people who. Oh, sorry, I said suicide. Self-cancel.
Yeah. Yeah.
they
Yep.
they have the is demographic the word I'm looking for. I mean, different people do it in different ways. I mean,
Yeah.
teenagers who self-cancel will likely they do it different ways, like hang themselves
Right.
um in the front hall of their home. It's like for their parents, like, I told you so.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And and the young lovers, kids that break up and they'll um, self-cancel.
Yeah.
They want to show you how much they loved you or how much you didn't love them. And
Yeah.
yeah, different ways. I mean, women are more likely to take pills, while men
Right.
are likely to hang themselves or shoot
Yeah.
themselves.
Something violent.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
and
That's what I've
sometimes,
always heard. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and sometimes you get letters that when they start writing, they were very coherent, but if they took an overdose of something,
Yeah.
they were very coherent. But by the time they were finishing the letter and the medication took effect, you could barely read it. It was
Oh
just
wow. A
completely illegible.
process. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
so yeah, that's interesting. And the vast amount of people who would come in were usually Hispanic and white. Not too many people of color were who people like do that. And Asian countries, the ones that did it, they were very discreet about it, and their notes were usually about how they felt they had disgraced their family or disgraced
Mm-hmm.
themselves. So
Yeah.
that's fascinating detail. So
Okay, so on the screen, I'm just showing where that every
that's
December
downplane burial.
there. Yeah. So they cremate the bodies, and is that what you said?
Yeah, and I sent you one photograph of just stacks of the boxes, because they
Yeah.
hold them
Okay.
for
Let me
50
see.
years. And generally it's between 1200 and 1700. It varies in between, but it's usually in those numbers. So it's quite a big trench and quite a bit of boxes. And you can look them up in case one of your loved ones are missing, and that's how people usually found them after the fact.
Oh,
They
here it is. Yeah.
coroner's office, yeah.
Okay, I'll just show that real quick. So
Yeah.
I think let's see, there. Is this the
That's it.
boxes?
Those are the
Yeah.
boxes for all cremated
Right.
remains.
Yep. And so yeah, how many in 3 years?
Usually between 1200 and 1700.
Wow, they're all unclaimed, huh?
Yeah, all unclaimed. And that doesn't mean that they're not identified, but a lot of people can't afford it. The families can't
Yeah.
afford to bury them. So they let the county cremate them. And in between within those 3 years, if you want to claim them, you can. I don't know how much it costs now. When I left 11 years ago, it was about $300 to claim the cremated remains of someone. Now it's probably between $400 and $500. I mean, it's no telling. And veterans are buried for free, and
nice.
they'll take them down to Riverside and inter them there. And let's see what else is interesting. There's been cases it's if someone dies in a fire and smoke inhalation or and their pet perishes with them, they'll cremate the pet with the person.
Oh, that's nice.
Put them together. It is nice. It's not something publicly put out, but they'll do it. I mean, it's not terrible that I'm telling you that, but
no, believe me, if my house burned down and I perished with my pets, I would want that. I would want that.
Well, who knows what goes on in your county, but LA County, they've been known to slip that in.
That's nice. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, that's really nice. So these are things that you don't usually hear about. So let me see. So you were there from 2009 to 2015 in that Emmy office, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you saw quite a few celebrities, being that you are in the county of Los Angeles. You saw a lot of celebrities come through.
I did.
So when you were there when Michael Jackson came through, is that correct?
I was there, June 25th. I started in March of 2009, and he passed in June of 2009. And we didn't get Farrah Fawcett. She was under a doctor's care, but we got oh gosh, who else was it?
Yeah, I could name some.
Yeah, well, I think was it Brittany Murphy? I think died the same year. I think.
So, in 2009 we had Brittany Murphy, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So Brittany Murphy went through there too. I think I heard
okay. Passed from community acquired pneumonia, as did Simon Monjack 6 months or so later.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy, Michael Jackson. How about Patrick Swayze?
He died in wherever his ranch is, in Montana or something.
Okay.
In Los Angeles.
Okay, so the coroner or the medical examiner officer gets anybody who passed away in Los Angeles County, or
yes, in Los Angeles County. And there's some
you have to be there.
They're like the Hale-Bopp suicides.
Self-delete. That's right.
There was so many of them that LA County went down to San Diego to work with them as well, and they ended up coming up here to Los Angeles County. And what was her name? Nichelle. She was Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek. Her brother was among those who had self-canceled in that. He belonged.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember that. In fact, they had interviews before they did that. Is that correct? I remember seeing them on a video before. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, there was a lot of them. I remember that being on TV and following that Applewhite or Applegate or something.
Yeah, and that group is still going. I mean, there's still a website for them.
Is it really? Yeah. Heaven's Gate, isn't that what they were? I think.
Heaven's Gate, yes.
Something like that, yeah.
So that Google that, that group will come up.
Wow, I didn't think they were still around.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, and then Ed McMahon, did he come through there?
If he did, it was way before my time. I don't recall. I think he passed in New York.
Okay, June 23rd, 2009. Yeah, because some of these are, okay. Ricardo Montalban.
He was under doctor's care, and he's buried out here at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City.
Okay, how about Dom DeLuise? He was May 2009.
Not in California.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Adam Goldstein, Billy Mays. Those were the 2009. Those were notable deaths. I thought they were in Los Angeles.
Billy Mays, I know he's buried out here at Forest Lawn, but I don't know if he passed here before my time.
Okay. Then 2010, we had Corey Haim. Did he come through there?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think he did. We had Paul, oh gosh, what was his name?
Walker.
Yeah, Paul Walker and Roger Rodas, and I was there for them, and they were completely burned. Paul Walker is on the bottom of his rear end was not burned, and was as was the bottoms of his feet, and where the seatbelt straps crossed him was not burned like the rest of him.
Yeah, I've seen the video. That just a horrific crash.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And one of them is buried at Forest Lawn, Glendale, and the other one's buried at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills. Roger Rodas is at Glendale. Paul Walker's at Hollywood Hills.
Okay. Any other celebrities? Well, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams lives in the San Francisco area.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I heard the man on the video that your friend, I forgot his name.
Craig Harvey.
Yeah, Craig. Mr. Harvey. So he was saying that when Michael Jackson came in, the place was surrounded by fans, and it just got so crazy that I think he said something like, as soon as we were done, we called and we said, get him out of here, because there is a crowd out there that was just insane.
It was. You couldn't even drive into the parking lot.
Yeah, the employees, I bet, right? Couldn't get in and out.
No, and definitely those the paparazzi were trying to get in to the building, and there was one guy who went to the trouble of mocking up like one of the techs that work there, and there's uniforms, and he had a whole uniform. I remember his name on the name tag was Murphy, but he had the entire uniform, and he tried to just waltz in there as an employee. However, they immediately recognized, because he was wearing, his uniform was made from Dickies clothing, and they don't use Dickies. So he was immediately spotted.
Nice try, huh?
Yeah.
Did he get in trouble for that?
Oh yeah. His uniform was confiscated, and that was kept around the office for quite a while. I mean, it's probably still there for all I know. But so no, people were trying to get in all over the place under false pretenses. But like Craig said in his interview, the coroner's office, they're all just people as well, and there was a lot of trouble because people were sneaking in trying to take photographs, and people who came in for community service, they were trying to take photographs, and so they ended up they have like a special lockup for people of note, but they got a more secure one, and so they started putting them in there with locked doors, no windows, and keeping them in there so that the public couldn't get to them. But sometimes the employees, they're looking for money too, and I think they've weeded a lot of those people out, and they've also upgraded the security, so whenever any of us would look at any case, it would log in as us and how long we were on there, so it was easy to catch them.
Yeah, because wasn't there a photograph leaked of Michael Jackson?
There was, and then a lot of them
postpartum.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw that there was a German film company who mocked up a coroner's van, and then they got some Michael impersonator.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of the rumors that he's still alive came from.
Yes, somebody got a look-alike of Michael Jackson and backed in the coroner van, and then the fake Michael popped out, and people saw him, and that started all the rumors. That was Yeah, that he was still alive, but uh, yeah. So Craig Harvey saw Michael himself. Did you see Michael?
Yeah, I think I described it in the last live that you did. He
Yeah.
he was 5'9", 139 pounds.
Hmm.
He wore a wig. He did have a burn spot on the top of his head from the Pepsi commercial, and but he had male pattern baldness, and so he had a hairline tattooed on. And if you look at one of his brothers, he looks like he's a really strange hairline. I forgot who it is, but that's because it's tattooed on as well. So if you just look at pictures, recent pictures of the brothers, you'll see that. But he had his eyeliner tattooed on, his lips were tattooed. The cartilage in his nose was razor thin, and he was in the process of preparing for another surgery on his nose.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he did have vitiligo. It was on parts of his body, and their photos are out there of his face where you can see the vitiligo, and on his hands you can see the vitiligo. But he took it a step further and had his whole body bleached. And if you ever look at him, his skin coloring isn't just the coloring of a white person. It's a weird grayish white color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not natural.
No, it's because
Um.
it's all bleached. And
Yeah.
also, too, when he was interred at Forest Lawn, there was tons and tons of people were swarming around the doors and stuff trying to get in there. But that place is like Fort Knox, and
Yeah.
people would somehow sneak in there, and they would wait till the park closed, the memorial park would close, and they would try to get into where Michael Jackson was. And there was one guy they caught in there, and they knew he was in there because he dummy left his car parked in the cemetery. So
No.
they knew somebody was there, so they just went through. And I don't know where he hid, but he managed to stay inside the mausoleum. And in the nighttime, he had a crowbar, and he was going to go to work on the sarcophagus. And
Oh
I don't know what
no.
he thought he was going to do in there, but but the way that portion of the mausoleum is, he's in a private alcove that you can, I mean, anybody can walk by it, but there's cameras all over. And it's got 12 spots for other family members. And
Hmm.
I don't know how well you know cemeteries, but in those indoor crypts like that,
Hmm.
it's
Yep.
like 5 or 6 people's names on it. That's because they're in the floor. The last person that goes in is usually in the sarcophagus. And in Michael's case, there was 4 and 4 on each wall, and then there was 4 spots in the floor. So Michael was the first one in, so they lower him down in the sarcophagus and then push his casket all the way to the front, which brings him to like the gate of the opening of his private his section. So
Yeah.
whoever tried to open that sarcophagus, if they had managed to get in there, they would have looked empty.
Oh.
So now his father's buried there as well, but he's out on the lawn. He was not well liked by the other members of his family.
They kept Pops outside, huh?
Huh? Yeah, he's outside. He's out
The
on the lawn.
dad. Yeah, he did seem kind of I don't know, not the friendliest. It didn't seem like the family. So the rest of the family, there's spots. The Jacksons have spots inside there also.
Yeah, there's 12 spots within that mausoleum section. I don't think I sent you a picture of that, but
No.
yeah, he's yeah, there's 4 up each wall on either side, and then 4 in the ground, and the last one going in would be, so there's 3 spots before you hit the sarcophagus. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
And then the last one sits in the actual sarcophagus.
Did his mom pass away too?
Nope, she's still alive.
Okay. Yeah, she was hanging in there.
Yeah.
Okay, but she'll be there too.
Who?
The mother and the brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I don't know who. I mean, I couldn't say who else they're going to put in there.
Yeah. Right.
I thought they would put the father in there, so I was a little surprised he went out on the lawn, but they have their reasons,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea who will go in there. The mother certainly.
Okay. So there's like there's myths and rumors that people in the morgue sometimes will sit up or move. Have you ever seen that
I've
movement?
never, I've never seen that in the big crypt.
Hmm.
If you know, especially when it's at nighttime, because there's staff there 24 hours a day. What you can hear is the plastic. The plastic is settling, and so you can hear rustling of the plastic as the decedents settle down. You know, and
Right.
and if there was laughing talk about rats being in there, but I never saw any of that. But
Yeah.
like I said, if you stood there in the silence, you could just in the distant edge of the racks there, and you can show that picture. You can't identify a decedent. So if you want to show those, go ahead. I don't think there's anything too gory that you can see. I mean, you have to use a magnifying glass to try to be horrified, you know. But
Right.
yeah, so, but yeah, that's all I ever heard there. I never saw anything there. I did have weird experiences in the Great Mausoleum at Forest Lawn, and I was there a lot. And I was there alone. I was there during the daytime. I was there during the nighttime. I was there with other people. And I had one, two, I had three incidents there. Two I caught on camera because I was using my camera at the time that it happened. But they were just unusual. I couldn't say they were definitely paranormal. One of the incidents that I had, I was with three other people, and I did not have my camera with me, and we were in the Great Mausoleum, and we were standing in the corridor talking, and we saw this young man come in and walk into a private alcove about maybe 15 feet from us, pretty close. I mean, I could tell that he was wearing wide well corduroy pants, and I thought, that's weird. Who wears, wide well corduroy
Right.
pants? And so he went in there. So we stopped talking because we didn't want to disturb him. And it was a private alcove, a little area for their family members. So we just waited for him to come out, but like 15 minutes went by and we never saw him come out. And there's no other entrance or exit. So we just sort of cautiously walked up and peeked around the corner, and there was nobody in there.
Wow.
So, and
Yeah.
all of us saw that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that next about spiritual activity in there because I imagine there's got to be spiritual activity at my guess because that's with all them bodies and everything.
Yeah. I
Uh,
not much other than that. I mean, I was walking down one corridor and I was by myself, and I had my camera because I was locating a decedent who had been interred there. So I had my camera with me, and as I was walking down the corridor, I heard a metal clanking, and there was. I should have sent you a picture of this. I mean, I could have sent you the video of this. So if we talk again, I'll make sure you have
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I heard the metal rattling of the gate because the little alcoves each had a wrought iron gate in front of it, and so as I started to walk, I heard the rattling, like somebody was rattling the gate.
Hmm.
And so I thought, oh, that's weird. I wonder what's going on there. So I got my camera out. I mean, I had it in my hand. I turned it on just in time to see the gate open on its own and swing all the way open.
Oh,
Oh gosh, I wonder what that is. And so I at the time I wasn't thinking paranormal anything. I just was wondering what that was. So I just shut my
right.
camera off and I went over to have a look, and I closed it and I waited, and it didn't happen again. And it was the family crypt of Harold Lloyd, the actor. Um, you know what I'm talking about. He was around like Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd, if you remember
Yeah.
him. Yeah, so him and his family, it was his family crypt. And then the other one that I got on
Okay.
film, there's a section there for the uh, Memorial Court of Honor, and it has people interred there, like the guy who did Mount Rushmore statue,
Hmm.
Borglum, and he's in there, and there's like 14 different people, notable people in that section. And in order to get to where they insert the caskets into these niches, I went in with a couple of workers there, and we were in there talking. And one of the workers said, "Something feels weird in here. I have to get out of here. Something feels strange." And the other one said, "I feel that too." And I said, "I don't feel anything." you know, and they were hightailing it out the door, and I'm saying, you'd think I'd feel something, and it didn't happen while it was there. We didn't hear it, but when I played it back, there's a big bang, and I don't know what that was. There was nothing to bang, you know. So that was just unusual. So I couldn't say that was paranormal.
Was that near somebody particular's grave or anything, or their body, or?
It was, and I'll send it to you so you can look at it for yourself.
Okay, let me see if this is the Harold Lloyd you're talking about. This guy died. Harold Lloyd, is that what you said?
Yeah, Harold
Lloyd. Is this him?
Yes, that's Harold Lloyd.
Okay, Harold Lloyd. So you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Harold Lloyd, and he was born 1893. He died in 1971, and that's well, I remember that picture, hanging from the clock.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
He blew 3 fingers off in a stunt. Some explosive went off, so he only had a couple of fingers on one hand. So for his entire career, he had a glove with fingers stuffed. He still had his thumb and first finger, and all the other fingers were gone. And if you look at some of those images of him doing stunts, you can see his fingers are not bending with the other fingers.
Oh yeah, like a rubber glove. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's to disguise that. And if you look at old pictures of him, or like around the Christmas tree or with his family, you'll see that he's missing fingers. So he did all those stunts with just a couple of fingers on one hand.
And do you think? Did you see the figure that was in that that disappeared in the area you said?
Yeah, we saw him. We all saw him.
Okay. Do you think it was Harold?
Huh?
Do you think it was Harold, the ghost of Harold?
No. The Harold Lloyd was in a different section. The man that we saw go in with the corduroy pants on, that was on the Holly Terrace, and Harold Lloyd is on the Begonia Terrace. And I don't know how much anybody knows about the Great Mausoleum in Forest Lawn, Glendale, but there's 11 terraces, and they're all named after the alphabet. So there's Azalea, Begonia, Coleus, Dahlia, and so forth and so on to Jasmine. So when if you ever see so they named them as they built the terraces.
And that's Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale.
Yes.
Okay, I'm pulling that up. So that looks like a big here, probably
it's like a castle.
Yeah, I see it. I'll probably try to pull it up. Yeah. Let's see if this is it. Is that the building? Wait, that building right there?
Yep. That's it.
Sorry, wait.
It's quite vast. That's it. It's huge. Absolutely huge.
And that's where you saw the guy walking?
Yeah, walking in to the alcove. Before Disneyland was built, it was known as, they nicknamed it the Disneyland of the Dead, because it was the most visited place in California, or Southern California, until they built Disneyland. So people would come to Los Angeles to sightsee, and they would go there.
Oh, wow. Is there a lot of celebrities there? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look up Find a Grave.
Yeah, because I remember in Scott's videos, him talking about Forest Lawn Memorial and these places that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're saying, let's see. So the celebrities that came in, did you say that they had were they put in that same room with all those bodies, or did you say? I think you said that like Michael and some of them had a special spot where it's locked up.
Called security hold. And
okay, just
prying eyes.
Yeah, so nobody could sneak a photo or something like that.
No, and some people of note went in there. I mean, there was plenty of there were porn stars, there were musicians,
Yeah.
but they didn't draw the same amount of attention that Michael Jackson did or Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, Brittany Murphy. Does she have the fans outside there too, or
No, not like that.
not
Mostly
like that?
cemetery. But I'll tell you the funny thing about that. And the chief and I were at a place called Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, and that where Ricardo Montalban and Sharon Tate are, and a lot more. There's a lot of famous people there as well. But we were standing next to a grave, and these people, a husband and a wife and their kids, were looking for their loved one in the nearby area, and they could hear us talking. And the wife came over and said, "I'm sorry, what do you guys do?" And so we were talking to her for a few minutes, and the chief got a phone call while we were talking to her, and he said, "Oh, Brittany Murphy's coming in." And the woman looked at us like I just confessed to killing a Lindbergh baby, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, so I think back about that lady. I thought, I wonder what she thought, if she still talks about it at Thanksgiving, that she got the inside scoop. So, but,
She
yeah,
thinks she's at the right place at the right time, huh?
yeah. Her
Um,
mouth just dropped open, and she didn't even say anything. She stared at us. She was trying to decide if we
okay.
were or not.
Okay, so I think I'm going to go to the chat to see if you have questions. I haven't
Okay.
really been in the chat, you guys, so if you have a question for Jayne, could you type it in the chat now? Because I didn't really see all the comments. So,
And I'm sorry, I couldn't see any comments.
yeah, that's okay. I really wasn't watching either because I was looking through your photographs. Let's see. Yeah, so she was there when Michael Jackson was processed. Let's see, I'm just looking through the questions. So did you meet any of the Jackson family there, or they didn't go there at all?
No, they were there. They had, and again, I think Craig. I strongly recommend your viewers watch that interview
Yep.
with Mike Dorsey, but because he talks about it there. They did go to his. They did go to Forest Lawn and open the casket so they could take clippings of his hair and stuff, because they were trying to say that Michael Jackson had only done the propofol once, and anyway, they were cutting hair samples to see what they could see. And so yeah, they were very kind people. I didn't get to meet them. Craig certainly did. Yeah, no, very nice people. Latoya and the mother were very understanding and very kind and very grateful for anything that the coroner's office did. They filmed a lot there. I sent you a photograph of Dustin Hoffman and Dennis Farina, and I'm standing with them in front of the doors because they came and they filmed there. And it was for a television movie, something. They were lawyers. And so I got to talk to both of them. And that was Dennis. Hoffman was very funny, and also a very good sport. And I took a picture of him with him, and then again took of him in the gift shop. So you'll see those pictures if you post them. And Dennis Farina was very quiet, and then he passed a while after. And they had filmed Ghost Adventures there a couple of times, and people have a lot of opinion about the Ghost Adventures team, which and let's see who else. Chris Evans and Keanu Reeves were in some movie themselves, and when they were there, Keanu Reeves just stayed outside pacing around and smoking, and his girlfriend and their child, the child died first, and then the girlfriend died later, and they were both coroners. That's what I'm looking for. Intake. So he didn't really want to be there, which I completely understand. But there were other
Yeah.
people filmed there as well, and I was there when Lindsay Lohan was doing her community service there as well.
Oh, I saw that in the video. Now, Grace did put up the link to that video
Yeah.
Yeah, so he talked. He was talking about. Yes, I do recommend that you guys. Grace, could you put that link up again, please? Um, I recommend you guys watch that video that Grace is putting the link up. Jayne's boss, Craig Harvey, uh, he's in that video, and he talks about Michael Jackson and some others, but he also talks about, was it Brittany Murphy? Or no, I'm sorry, Lindsay
Lohan.
Lohan. Lindsay
Yeah.
Lohan, do you guys remember she had to do community service? And he said that, and this, were you there when this happened?
Yeah. She came around and dumped the trash cans. At that time, I was working in the administrative building, which, if you're looking at pictures of the coroner's office property, it's the one out front that's like a built in like 1920 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Very old building, brick building. And then the administrative office is where Craig is where I ended up after I went to disaster. So I worked in both those places. But yeah, they came in, or she came in, and they had people with her and follow her around while she dumped the trash. And then the paparazzi were coming around and trying to get photographs of her there, and they didn't want that. So they moved her down to the service floor so people couldn't get at her. And the service floor is where the big crypt is. And one of the pictures I sent you is a smaller version, and they didn't build that big crypt until after 2011. So prior to that, the decedents were in smaller rooms, refrigerated rooms
Mhm.
within. They made it one big giant room. And
Yes.
yeah,
So
so
he was saying that you guys had a program for community service for
yes,
people who are
yes,
ordered that, and Lindsay Lohan was assigned to the coroner or the medical examiner's office to do community service, and he said that the first day she showed up late, and
yeah,
there's paparazzi and everything. She shows up late, and I saw the footage. She was dressed like she didn't think she was going to empty trash cans, but she showed up late and was told to go home because she was late. And then the next day, what did she do? The
well,
next
she brought
time,
donuts, but
oh yeah, yeah,
she also brought another time. She brought In-N-Out burgers, but there's a lot of people that work there, and so you can't just bring it for 12 people. So they wouldn't allow her to distribute any of that stuff. So that's why they
yeah,
didn't put it out. I mean, if you bring gum, you got to bring enough for everybody.
right. Is
So
that yeah? We did that in school, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So there
so
was, there's, a lot of people there, so they're all looking, where's my donut? So
yeah, so he said Lindsay Lohan sent donuts down to the medical examiner office, and he turned them away.
yeah,
And then he said one thing he could tell people is that he had Lindsay Lohan emptying his trash cans.
yeah, yeah,
I thought that was funny.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
like I said, they ended up secluding her to the places where people couldn't come in. I mean, the administration
yeah,
building where I was at the time, they brought her there once, but once the paparazzi realized that they could get into the administration building, um, that they were trying to do that, so they couldn't keep her from being photographed. So again, she went to the service floor where nobody's allowed. And the service floor, like you said, smells real bad. And when I first started there, and I'd have to go down to the security floor to collect toe tags and paperwork from each decedent, I would get off the elevator, and they would be down there cooking like popcorn, microwave popcorn. And I can't eat microwave popcorn anymore because that smell mixed with the decedent's
mhm,
was something that
yeah.
sticks with you.
Well, I think you got a bad association with the
Yeah,
popcorn.
yeah. All
Um,
I can smell is that. So
right. So, not my monkey said, why would it sometimes take 6 months to rule the cause of death? And I imagine that would be amount of people and the toxicology reports. But
the
what do you say?
toxicology, it depends, because the toxicology is what takes the longest, because
Right.
when they, and I think Craig Harvey talked about that as well.
Yes.
You get
Yep.
more
Yep.
detail if you watch that video. But if
Yeah.
they don't test for everything, they only test for things that might be from the cause of death. And one of the things he says in the video is they don't test for marijuana because
No, no.
would kill you. But if
Well, yeah.
if the family says, I think he was taking cocaine or something, or if they have pill bottles to show that, that he had a prescription or he was using these drugs, they test for those drugs. They don't test for every drug. And then
Yeah.
the brain, if they have to remove the brain to look at, the brain takes quite a while to set up because it's like a jelly thing. They can't slice it without it falling apart. So it has to set up for a while. And sometimes that takes, a long time. So yeah, so all the different things that they have to test for takes a while. And some people are waiting, 3-4 months. And even sometimes in some cases even longer. And the families, if say it was an infant who maybe pulled down a TV on themselves, or the family said that, they would call like every day saying, do you have a cause of death? Do you have a cause of death? And especially if it was suspicious, like, he was mishandled by the family.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to know, they were trying to get it so they could skip to Mexico if they found out that,
Yeah.
so that they have to be careful about some of that stuff. There was a lot of people tried a lot of tricks, and one of them, if you died in a car accident, say, this is just one case, and you and somebody read about it on the news or in the paper, if your name was mentioned, some of these people would go to the coroner's office and say, yeah, I'm so and so's sister, and can I collect her belongings and any money she had? And you'd have to prove it, absolutely have to prove it. So in one case, it only happened once while I was there, a man who came in and said that the person who passed, the next of kin, was their son, and he was overseas in Iran, I think, or Iraq, I forgot which. But this guy said he was the uncle, and he was there to collect on behalf of the nephew. And the coroner, I was there for that interview, and he said, well, what they needed more information on the man who'd passed. And he said, well, what was his name? He had a nickname. What was his nickname? And the guy's like, I don't know. So it was obvious that he wasn't the brother. And
Right.
yeah, so just a lot of tricks. And the property did go out on one case by accident, but not the money.
Yeah.
They convinced the property guy that he was actually a relative. And there was other cases like that. The two twin women and another woman came in with a baby, and one of the twins said, I'm the mother, the wife of the man who had passed, and she couldn't produce a marriage license. And so they were turned away. They never, they try all sorts of tricks trying to get property or money. And if they can get a copy of the death certificate, oh my God, they could go to every bank looking for any accounts.
Right. Oh, I get that. Okay.
Oh yeah, I wish they put more effort into getting a real job.
Right.
Yeah.
The amount of time and energy they spent to commit crimes, you could just go to a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the video that I watched with Craig Harvey, he was saying that it's a little frustrating when these TV shows, these crime shows, solve everything in a half an hour.
Yeah.
And it's just not the way it works. There's a process and there's everything. And he said that I guess was Biggie Smalls in the did he go through there?
Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls what?
Did Biggie Smalls go through there?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Okay, because
400 pounds of them.
Yes, I saw a picture the day before he died, and he was huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said, what did he say about that? They did a toxicology report on him, and because he was supposedly drinking and maybe smoking pot that night or something, but his toxicology report was clean, and that's when Craig Harvey said that they only test for drugs of abuse, something you could die from. They don't test for marijuana because you can't die from marijuana. You can maybe walking from a bus because of the fact, but it's not ever the cause of death. So that's why they don't test for marijuana. Biggie Smalls had nothing in the system despite the fact that he was seen drinking. So but yeah, so he went through there. Biggie Smalls, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he lived up to his name, the Biggie part anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other celebrities?
Oh my gosh. Don Cornelius from Soul Train. Remember him?
Yep.
He self-canceled and he used a 44, which was, quite a powerful weapon to do that with. And they didn't put this out in the paper, but it's old news. But I mean, his head was like if you took a raw egg and just slapped it down on the counter. I mean, that 44 completely,
Wow.
And his I don't know if it was his children or a nephew or somebody, but they were fighting over his estate, and he was just got really mad. I mean, he wasn't well, he was unwell. And so they were trying to jump on him for whatever estate he had. So he did that out of anger.
Yeah. I noticed in this kind of in the in the death business, there seems to be a lot of greed that comes out of nowhere. Yeah, people are focused on the money more than
we saw a lot about that. I mentioned earlier that people say, "Oh, that's terrible. Did he have any money on him?" That was pretty cool. And if it was a large family, like a bunch of kids, they usually, whoever called the coroner's office first, if it was determined he was next in line. I mean, it could be 8 kids, but whoever called first among the kids usually became the contact person. And they wouldn't deal with everybody. They would just deal with the contact person. And then you got all 8 kids calling up demanding, that they do this or they do that or they, and so there's a hierarchy of who they give information to. But yeah, it gets pretty ugly among people if there's money involved.
Yeah, I've seen, I worked in real estate and there was definitely a lot of that. Oh my goodness. When the parent died, the kids would be fighting, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so I saw it on that end too. So let's see. How are people who've donated their bodies to science processed? I could guess, but you can tell me.
Through a company called Legacy, and that's in Los Angeles County. I don't know what other counties do, or other coroner's offices do. But when a decedent is ready to be released, if the family wants them, or if they've not signified, what's what I'm looking for, that they requested that their remains be remanded to like a college or that kind of thing. It's
donated.
Yeah, donated. And Legacy is the company that comes and collects things like your eyeballs, your heart, your liver, that kind of thing, and sees where they can be of use somewhere else. Okay. And sometimes it's paternity, because the sperm remains viable within the body for a few days.
Wow.
So not long, maybe 48, just not very long, but there's enough time to collect it if they need to do it, use it for paternity or that kind of thing. So
right. Preserve it, yeah.
Yeah, preserve it in some way. But yeah, that's usually that. And then it's difficult to ask questions, or to not ask questions, but to have a say in what happens to them after they're donated to, quote, science. And sometimes they go to the body farm. In Tennessee, I'm sure some of your listeners are familiar with that.
I know all about it, with the car trunks and the
for the elements. They use sometimes they'll go to a bomb squad. They'll explode them in vehicles and stuff to see what happens to them. And a lot of families don't wish that for their mother. But you don't have to say once you've donated.
Right. So once you donate the body to science or whatever, they're free to do what they want with it, right?
They are, and in some cases, depending on what's left, they'll give you the cremated remains.
Oh, okay.
Whatever's left over. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention is that the coroner's office in Los Angeles County has been around since 1850. And
Mhm.
so one of the things I was in charge of was the giant ledgers that they used to keep those records in, and they were massive ledgers. I mean, you needed two hands to open the pages. I mean, it was quite large. And then you would have to go down a list of the dates and see when somebody passed. I mean, if you were looking for Bela Lugosi, you'd have to go to what year he was gone and then search down with your finger looking for his name and what had happened. And we had a lot of people looking for that information. But in the early days of Los Angeles, people were very transient here, and they would come in and they'd be in town or whatever they were doing, and they didn't give people their full names. They didn't have a driver's license in 1900, or late 1800s. So people
Right.
by whatever name. So when you would look at those old records, you would see like, Slappy Johnson.
Yeah, yeah.
Name they had.
Lefty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lefty, One-Eyed Jack,
yeah.
and so yeah, they would just be in there by their names, and also at that time in history, you had about maybe 300 different ways of death, causes of death. Now there's thousands of different ways people
Oh,
could die.
something happened to your microphone, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it sounds like you're something changed.
I haven't gone anywhere.
Okay.
Is it normally out or the same?
Can you guys hear her okay? Let me just make
I'll put
sure.
my mouth closer to the microphone.
Okay, is her sound okay for you guys? All of a sudden it just changed for me. It sounds like kind of in a... Okay, I'll just keep asking. Sounds like she's far away. Yeah, it did sound like she's far
All
away.
right, I'll put the microphone closer to my face.
Okay.
Is this better?
I think so.
Yeah. So in those days, the ways up to self-cancel were run in front of the train, run in front of the stagecoach, pour boiling oil on yourself. Not everybody had a gun or a gas stove.
There it is. Now I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah, now you're back. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
And I haven't moved at all. So
weird. Yeah. Could be my device.
So if you got blown up somehow, and all they had were scraps of what was left of you, you went into the ledgers as scraps. So there's a lot of entries just as scraps.
Wow. So so they didn't have DNA back then. So how do you ever identify maybe a tattoo or?
Yeah, that was it. And there was one guy who passed out here. Hold on, I'm coughing.
Sure.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
His name was Joe Blow. Everybody talks about Joe Blow, but there really was a Joe Blow out here. And he had buried his money in the dirt underneath his house. And this was in the very early 1900s. And everybody came out of the woodwork. And he was originally from England, and that's all anybody knew. But it got back to family members in England, and people were coming forward. Oh, I was his wife. People trying to get his money. And the first people that went in the house, and they were guarding the house because the neighbors and other people were coming, just trying to dig up the yard. I mean, they dug up his outhouse, looking for any money he had stashed. And then this first couple people who were in there, they had dug under the house and found his stash of money, and they were out there buying new clothes. $2,000 was a lot of money back then, so they were spending it all, and so they busted themselves. But people have been out for $1 all these years.
Again, preying on a dead man. So is that where the term Joe Blow comes from?
I don't think it is. I think it was a coincidence that his name was just Joe Blow. But funny to find Joe. I mean, we've had some weird names, and we had Mary a Stranger. Her first name was Mary, middle initial A, and her last name was Stranger.
Mary a Stranger.
A stranger. I mean, so we had quite a few unusual people, and people with unusual names. And so, it's inside humor. But yeah. So anyway, anything else? I'm trying to think of whatever else
Yeah.
that was
So
of
there's
interest.
more there's more questions. You sent me a letter. Somebody wanted their hamster exhumed because
Mr.
they were.
Gompers. I love that letter. It's my favorite one. I think that came in about um, 12 or 13 years ago. And yeah, I mean, you can put it up on screen if you want to. I mean, it's well past the person that received the letter isn't even living anymore. But
Okay, so was that for real? Did the person really want their hamster exhumed?
well, if they did, I mean, personally, there's a lot of nuts out there, so it could very well have been a real letter. But I mean, in my sense of humor, didn't you read that like it was a joke? But he was definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely, he was playing the long game because, of course, nobody ever responded to him. But if you put the letter up so people could read it, this guy had a hamster named Mr. Gompers, and according to him, Mr. Gompers died a mysterious death, and he was trying to get the coroner's office to examine him, and so somehow, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. Somehow he got a shovel. It was someplace that he lived and he'd moved away. And he got a shovel and he went back there and was going to dig up Mr. Gompers. And the owner came out and shooed him away and took his shovel. So he was mad that they took his shovel. And he was asking the coroner's office to defend him, of Mr. Gompers. So, but yeah, there it is. But yeah, you'd have to read the whole thing. But if in that guy, whoever that guy is, we looked him up. There's no evidence that he's a real person. The address isn't, real. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was definitely meant as a joke. But we definitely got letters from people who, demanding to know things they couldn't possibly know. And the other thing that and also in Los Angeles, they barely had cemeteries in the 1850s going forward. I mean, some of our oldest cemeteries are in the 1880s going forward. But people would bury their loved ones in the backyard, and so they're digging up for pools or whatever and finding the remains of great grandma. And so those would get reported, and we'd go out and collect those, and they'd go in a storage facility. And the office I worked in was just lined with banker boxes filled with, bits and pieces from people's yards.
Yeah. So I suppose now when somebody digs up some human bones, they automatically thinks it was foul play, but people actually did bury their relatives in their yard.
Yeah, in their backyards. Yeah. And of course, a lot of animal bones, which are easy to identify by anybody who knows.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Let's see my other questions here. Let's see. Somebody asked, why does it take so long for toxicology reports to come back? You said because of the brain. Is that always the case?
The brain is one of them, and depending on what they're testing for, can take quite a while. And plus, you've got a crypt that was lovingly nicknamed the Death Star, filled with 500 people. So that are in line before you. So that's part of it as well. So depending on, and like Craig said, the celebrities like Michael Jackson, they process in a hurry because the distraction of the paparazzi and that kind of stuff, they would keep coming around unless you had them move forward or to somebody.
Get them on to the next place. And yeah. So let's see. Let's see. So, at the time while you're working, did you have bodies back up that you couldn't get to right away? And so, how was it handled?
Some of them there have been there for a year, especially if there's a criminal case. And I can't remember what his name was now. He was murdered by his roommate, and then the roommate then cut up the body and took it to Griffith Park and then just dumped it in areas where he would know to go back to, so he could go back and look and see if they were still there. And by the time they realized, some woman walking her dogs found I think it was like a Target bag that had the head in it. And that's what kicked
Oh.
everything off. And animals had gotten to it, and they found the hands and one foot, and animals had gotten to that too, and, dragged it around. But they were in locations that were easily for the guy who stashed them there, easy for him to find. So they just, they were long trails. I mean, he didn't like dig into the
Yeah.
bushes, but they were just in, places he could get to easily. And
Some criminals are so lazy. Let's see. So there's a lot of them are. It seems like in these shows that I watch. So, and that my monkey says, has anyone ever asked for the loved one's hair? Now, you did say that Michael Jackson's mom and LaToya asked for his hair, but does anybody else ask for the hair? And is that for?
If they do, if they do, they'll usually ask the people in the mortuary who do the embalming and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they'll wait till they get to the funeral home or something.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's not just something that they do at the coroner's office.
People are asking about Tupac, but I know Tupac was shot in Las Vegas, so
Yeah. No,
he wasn't there. Yeah, I didn't think so. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure about Tupac. Let's see, who else? Have you ever had field trips for med students?
No, not personally. The Dr. Thomas Noguchi, who was called the Coroner to the Stars, he would take people into the coroner's office and tour them around, and within the coroner's office. But the coroners themselves, and I think Craig mentioned it too. I think it happened with Phil Hartman. I mean, they'll go out to scenes, the coroners, but not just anybody random.
Yeah. So did you ever have to work in the field or just the office?
I have only been to a couple of scenes well after the fact. And one was Yvette Vickers, and she, and I don't know if you remember her, she was an actress. She was in the Largest Woman, I think. What was that? It was where the who was it? The wife or some woman where she became a giant in the town. I can't think of the name. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but she was in a lot of stuff. She was in Sunset Boulevard. Just a little blonde thing, but she got older and she was living in seclusion in her hoarded house.
Mm-hmm.
She passed away in the house, and nobody noticed she was gone. She traveled a lot to autograph shows, Yvette Vickers. And if you look her up, you'll read all about that.
I think Scott Michaels, didn't he cover that? Or?
Yeah, I was with him.
Oh, you were? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that, yes.
Yeah, well, we were in the house, and they had already, the scrappers had come and scrapped everything in the house. And that was a shame because, the scrappers took everything away, but some of the stuff fell off the truck, and some of them, there was a signed original from, oh shoot, what was his name? I'll think about it after this is all over, but he was a famous artist. And she had this original print of his, and it was just all run over in the road, and so, but she had died, and nobody realized it for months. And because she was just secluded. But what happened was that she had gone to Las Vegas for an autograph show and stopped her mail. And of course, she passed away when she came home, and the post office decided to just bring all her mail and put it in the mailbox, but it didn't all fit. So the mailbox was crammed. The ground around the mailbox was crammed, all stuffed up. And a neighbor, whose last name was Savage, she decided to go in there and break in and see if it was okay. And she had passed away months prior. I think they found her in April of whatever year that was. I don't remember what year that was, 2003 or something. But anyway, she found Yvette laying on the floor, and she died on the sofa. She was in her 80s, and just sort of oozed off the sofa onto the floor. And if you watch that video, you'll see the spot on the floor where she had been laid. But we went in after the scraps, and she was a skeleton in a green sweater. You know,
wow.
They were never able to determine a cause of death, but she was in her 80s and she had some quirks. She had all these like old Reader's Digest, and she would write in the margins of the Reader's Digest people she didn't recognize driving down the street. You know, if she got wrong with numbers, you know, she would write all this stuff down. So she was paranoid. And so we were there for that. And the brother, who she barely knew, I think she'd only met him once. He was from her father's second family, and her father was a famous musician. And I can't think his name right now anymore, but so he had a son who was older than her, in his 90s, and he came out and just all he was interested in was getting his father's musical pieces. I think he played the saxophone, or you know, some kind of, you know, a wind instrument. So he went there and got that stuff out, and then just left. And he originally, or after she passed, they cremated her and then sent her ashes to him. And he lived up near Sacramento somewhere. But so that was it. So everything was left in the house. So they just, like I said, scrapped it out, sold the property, tore the house down. And I don't know if they've ever built anything up there yet. But something else I was going to tell you. Oh, one of the funny things that was funny to me anyway. On the property of the coroner's office, they had a thrift shop, and it was just a thrift shop that was run by the county of Los Angeles, and usually whatever people brought in there, they would use it for patients at the county hospital, you know, homeless people, and they didn't have anything, and so they would give them the clothes. But nobody would come in there to buy anything, because everybody, was rumored around the neighborhood that it was all the decedents' clothing, like the clothes they died in, which wasn't true. Absolutely was not true, but nobody would shop there. So I don't know.
They were creeped out. It was a little too close to the Miami office.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So no one would do anything.
They just assumed that, huh?
Yeah.
So now my monkey said, did you ever have people who died home alone and were eaten by their pets before they got flown?
No, they have. There was she was an actress who died at home, and she laid there for a week. And when they discovered her, and her dog had been nipping at her legs, and the examiners, the pathologists, thought that the dog was probably just trying to wake her up. But I think depending, you know, where, like, somebody homeless died in the bushes, their faces and stuff will be eaten off. You know, sorry if that's graphic, but people who die in their homes, usually it's maggots.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you don't have rats or anything, but the pets don't usually do that. I've never actually seen it.
Yeah, so, that might be kind of a myth, but I think out in the wild, it probably happens. So speaking of homeless people, in Los Angeles County, you probably have a lot of homeless people that come to deceased, or what?
A lot.
Yeah, what is their cause of death usually? Overdose.
Well, homeless, it's exposure. They usually have, well, not usually, but a lot of them sometimes get tuberculosis, or they have wounds and stuff that never get treated. You know, so they go, and the homeless people, when I went to work in the county hospital, we would get a lot of the people, the homeless people in there a lot. I mean, a great many of our patients were homeless, and they always had like scabies and all sorts of, you know, lice, all sorts of stuff like that. And but yeah, if they had tuberculosis and stuff, sometimes they didn't make it. You know, their diet is poor, their living conditions are poor, they're alcoholics, they're drug addicts. So that kind of thing. So a lot of that came through the coroner's office, and you know, once they determined, I mean, some stuff, if you died in an accident, and like a motorcycle accident, your head popped off, it was easy to determine your cause of death right away, and they would keep your helmet, because that was potentially, you know, your head popped off probably because of the helmet. you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, so they would use that for any kind of court case if it came up.
yeah. So you were did you do those tours with Scott Michaels? Were you on those
Yes,
tours? Did you work
yes,
with that?
uh-huh.
So
Dearly
so
departed
you
tours.
yeah, dearly departed, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so you know where the celebrities live and their death sites and stuff like that. I
Right.
remember I remember Scott did a video of I can't remember the guy's name, but he was an older guy, and he was died in an apartment bathtub, and he had some weird. He was an
Albert
actor.
Decker. Albert Decker.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Albert Decker. Oh my goodness, Albert Decker. So yeah, he
Yeah.
had his, like hands tied behind him or whatever. But
Oh, yeah.
just a strange. Anyway, just dressed. He had a ball gag in his mouth or something.
Yeah. Yeah. He had
Yeah,
handcuffed himself, but he had the keys in one hand. And he'd written the word, oh gosh, you have to
yeah, yeah.
video.
I know. I remember. It was written. Yeah, written on his stomach. So
Yeah.
Scott goes to the location, and this lady happens to be living in the apartment now. And she
Right.
said, she said, yeah, you can come in. He said, I wanted to photograph where the bathtub where he was. And I don't even think the lady was aware of this. But anyway,
No.
she invited him in, and the lady happened to dye her hair with this bright red hair dye, and
Yeah.
and it was like splattered all over the bathtub. So it almost looked like it was still a murder scene. Anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. I remember
Yeah.
the Jack Cassidy, or the
Yeah.
what was his name? Yeah, the one that
Jack
died in the the one that died
He
in the
Father
apartment
James
fire.
Cassidy. Yeah. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, he got drunk. Well, according to what they were able to discover, he was drinking and smoking and passed out and set his place on
yeah,
fire. And he
yeah.
lived a lot. He lived enough that they found him in the passageway to the front door. So they think he was calling or trying to get out. And I'll tell
Yeah,
you,
he was. Yeah.
the men that there's 2 men in there that live there now, and they've always claimed that his ghost was in that house.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, they had regular
Yeah,
sightings.
yeah, he was. His body was found like he had been crawling, trying to get to the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Um, somebody asked, what was the worst case of smoker's lung you've ever seen?
I didn't see any there because I'm not, an autopsy tech or a pathologist, so I didn't see any of that stuff. And so yes, I don't know anything about that. I mean, there were some weird cases. It's just some weird. How do you explain that? And I'll tell you just this one graphic thing. One woman who came in there, and I don't remember. I mean, sure, it contributed to her cause of death, but they found a flashlight and then a hairbrush shoved up her rectum.
Mm.
And so I don't know, what that was all about, but there was certainly a lot of talk, water cooler talk about how that happened.
Yeah.
And,
So was that a celebrity or just a random
just
person?
a woman, that was just a quirky thing. I mean, they found pieces or people like in the attic. They thought the guy had disappeared, but he'd been up in his attic and somehow died up there. And so the family didn't know where he was. They kept looking for him, and eventually someone found him in the attic, and he'd become a mummy by then, mummified.
Wow.
So I mean, there was a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
There was
Not my
one guy
monkeys. Go ahead.
Oh no, there was
No,
one
go
guy
ahead.
who was a big gamer, and people that followed him online noticed he wasn't playing the game anymore. So somebody called for a welfare check. And when they got there, he had passed away in his bathtub, and he'd been in there for a couple of weeks. But it was him not playing the games at which let people realize that something had happened.
Oh,
So
wow.
let your people know where you are, what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somebody asked about the ghost stories that came out of the morgue. You did mention you saw a couple people. Any other ghost stories out of the morgue?
No, nothing.
One.
Never. The morgue is in the hospital. In the coroner's offices, and they're different entities.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you go to the morgue, you don't usually come to the coroner's office unless the people in the morgue find something unusual that needs deeper examination than just a doctor can sign off on. They don't usually come to the coroner's office. They're just released to a mortuary. But no, never any ghost stories. There are definitely ghost stories in the hospital. People saw things in the hospital. I never did. Like I said, I never saw anything at the coroner's office, nothing. And I asked a lot of people I worked with, did you see anything? You ever see anything? No, nobody did. The only thing that I was ever told and that I heard for myself was just the rustling plastic.
Which is probably, yeah, like you said, the body settling or whatever.
Yeah, they're just settling as the rigor mortis or the bloating or whatever starts to release.
Yeah.
You can hear that, but I never saw anybody sit up. There are some kind of reflexes stuff, and I heard all that secondhand, so I never saw any of that for myself. And any other weird experiences I had were at cemeteries, which I don't necessarily believe are haunted, but the Great Mausoleum, where I had most of my experiences, there is it's such a big place, and it's been around, I think, since 1910, 1912. That I think there's probably some energy left over from maybe mourners, because I think for me, they're not, your loved ones are not hanging around in the cemetery. And this is just personal observation. I think if you concentrate on them, they'll come to you wherever you are. So if you're by their grave and you're wailing, weeping, or you're just really thinking about them real hard or talking about them, you can work up enough energy that they would come there, but they're usually going to be wherever you're thinking about them, at home or whatever. But I've been probably in over 100 cemeteries all around this area and other parts of California and other states, and even in Europe. I've been to cemeteries there and never experienced anything.
Yeah, I would think by the time they got to the morgue, I believe as soon as you pass away, the spirit leaves the body. So I wouldn't expect that they would be there. But there's been cemetery sightings and stuff like that. But
there have been.
Okay. The head that turned up a year later, did it grow long hair? Because we hear that the hair continues to grow after death, but that's probably only a day or two, right?
I don't think that actually happens. I think what happens, I don't know about the hair, but like the fingernails, people say the fingernails continue to grow. But what happens is your skin shrinks back, which gives the appearance that your nails are growing longer.
Yes.
And I don't think scientifically you can say that the hair grows longer, but I've definitely heard that over the years. So
yeah, that's what we heard. I
think it would not stand up to a microscope.
Yeah, so that makes more sense. So that there'd be shrinkage, and then there's the Okay. Let's see. So is there people that jump off the Hollywood sign or anything like that? People.
The only recorded case is Peg
Twizzle. And Twizzle, yeah. Peg and Twizzle, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only recorded case. I'm sure the people have died around up there, but she's the one that everybody thinks of. And people have claimed to see her ghost. People hiking around the area.
Yeah, Peggy and Twizzle, I think, was her name.
And she was married to, who Brian Keith is?
Yes, from Family Affair.
Right, and she was married to his dad. At the time of her death, she was divorced, but she had been married to the dad.
Oh yeah, yeah, and there's so Scott had stories on that Black Dahlia.
Elizabeth Short.
Yeah, Elizabeth Short. Did you hear that? People have a theory, and I've seen the evidence. There's kind of kind of does look like the same person that did that to her. Also, was the Zodiac killer. Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
So,
mean, the Black Dahlia, they've pointed the finger at many people, and there's one guy who was a detective, and he was sure, absolutely sure, that his father was the the guy who killed Black Dahlia, and who
the
knows?
doctor.
Yeah, but there's no proof of any of that. I mean, it's all just speculation, and
Right. Yeah.
they looked into over 100 people who might have been the cause of her death. And the only thing I can think of, if I had to come up with a theory myself, is that Elizabeth Short's sister was dating a man who was a doctor who lived not far from where her body was found. And it's if I had to look a little more closely at anybody, I would look at that doctor.
Because it seemed as though whoever did it had some type of medical, surgical type of experience. And did that doctor live in a house that looked like a shark?
Yeah,
shark face.
they called it the Jaws. The nickname was the Jaws house.
Jaws, yeah, it looked like Jaws, yeah.
It was built by Frank Lloyd Wright's son, Lloyd Wright. He was the architect of the house.
Huh.
So it's a pretty unique property.
Yeah, that was a unique case. Yep. Let's see. Any other questions? Let me just check chat. Anybody? I might have missed some questions. Anybody else? Oh, somebody. A little humor. Somebody asked when you answer the phone at the morgue, did you say you stab them, we slab them? I'm sure you've heard that joke many times, right?
That chestnut never gets old.
Yeah. Hi, TNT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was funny. So anybody else got questions? I know I have. I'll probably post some of these pictures on another video because they're kind of hard to see on here. What I'm getting. I'm going to try to be doing this off my laptop soon, and so the pictures will be much clearer. But I will post them. I'll probably put up. Yeah. So we could. There's a lot that you sent me. I saw Jayne's jacket from the medical examiners with her name on it. Her I saw a lot of your helmet. I seen a lot of your artifacts that you sent over, and
stuff I took when I left.
Yeah.
But,
so.
But yeah, there was something else I was just going to mention. The photographs of Jayne Mansfield in the car crash. They're available, but they're really hard to find. But you'd have to really do a deep dive looking for them. But all of those, I sent them to you because for so many years, and even a lot of people today believe she was decapitated, and she wasn't. She the roof of the car scraped off the top of her head. So she was like deeply scalped. She lost all of her scalp and then just the top part of her skull. So her brain is exposed, but she died of forced cranial avulsion. And and of course, Sam Brody, her boyfriend / lawyer, is the one sitting in the middle, which you can see him.
Yeah.
He was just crushed by the dashboard, and the kid driving was also died in that way. But I mean, they're black and white. They're old pictures. You'd really have to, blow them up and look at them carefully to see. They're pretty meaty. But if you too closely, you can see it. But you can share those if you want to. They're publicly available, but they're very rare to see. So some of your viewers might want to see those. And then I sent you Judy Garland's mother.
Yes. Yeah. So you sent me autopsy photographs of Judy Garland's mother, and I forgot her name. Yes, Ethel. Yeah.
Yeah. She dropped dead in a parking lot.
She did what?
She dropped dead in a parking lot. She was leaving work and was, going between the cars, going to her car. And some cars were driving down the lane between the cars. And while she was waiting, she had a heart attack and died.
Oh, oh yeah. And that was Marilyn Monroe's mother?
No, Judy Garland's mother.
I mean, I'm sorry, Judy Garland's mother. Yeah. Did Judy Garland, I suppose she was in New York or something when she died, right?
Yeah, but she's buried out here now. Her family had her moved to Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles. So she's out here now.
So, yeah, I suppose, so you guys worked a lot with the Los Angeles police.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people so a lot of deaths come out of Cedars-Sinai Hospital. I've seen those in Mike and Scott's videos. Did they tear that hospital down, Cedars-Sinai?
No. It's still popular among famous people. So
okay,
everybody goes there. But I mean, Scott has part of the tour. He rattles off the names of probably 50 people who passed there.
Yes, a lot of celebrities have died there in Cedars-Sinai and Los Angeles. Let's see. Let me read through some names. Let's see. So a lot of celebrities died outside of Los Angeles. So let's see. Let's see. Phyllis Diller, Ernest Borgnine, Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston died here.
She died there.
Office. Yeah. She died at a hotel right before the Emmys, and she drowned in her bathtub. And but drugs were involved. But yeah, she came to the coroner's office.
She went through your office?
Yeah, and I didn't see her. She went straight into security hold.
Oh, did she? Yeah. Was there? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
When they're famous like that, they never come to people like me. I mean, like I said, when they come in, I usually collect toe tags and stuff. But she was high profile. That's handled directly by the chief coroner or the assistant chief. So yeah, I don't get to see those people.
Yeah, she was February 11, 2012. Yes, she did drown. And she was right at that music awards or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jack Klugman, Tony Scott, Ray Bradbury, Don Cornelius. Some of them had jumped. A lot of these celebrities start their life. Some lived to be a nice old age. Phyllis Diller was 95 years old. Ernest Borg, the same. Ray Bradbury, but some Jack Klugman lived to be 90. So, but a lot of celebrities seem to take their life, which is unfortunate. But so let's see. Paul Walker, we talked about him. He came in pretty burnt.
No, Tony Scott was very sad. He was such a talented man, and he jumped off the Vincent Thomas Bridge. And if you look at that, it's a tremendously high bridge, and hitting the ground of the water is like concrete. So that was pretty sad. The other one that came that was old was Mickey Rooney.
Oh yeah. How did he pass away? Just natural causes, or?
Well, no. He became a coroner's case. He was elderly, but he became a coroner's case because he claimed that he was suffering from elder abuse, and so they brought him in to be examined. And when he come in, I saw him. I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to see him. But he went into the general population. He wasn't on security hold because, at that time he wasn't famous like, Michael Jackson. But I just remember somebody saying to me, "Look at this." And when I turned around, there he was. And I thought, oh, I was hoping not to see that. But
he was maybe elder, but he was still only 68 years old. So that's kind of young for
Mickey Rooney?
No, Tony Scott.
Oh yeah, Tony Scott was young. That was terrible.
Yeah, so he's the one that jumped off the bridge, right?
Yeah, Vincent Thomas Bridge.
Yeah, and that he was if anybody doesn't know, he was the director of Top Gun. Can't remember what else he did. Some other work. Yep.
We also got
go ahead.
Harry Osmond's son.
Yeah, Marie Osmond. Yeah, he
Yeah,
jumped from a balcony. Isn't that true?
I sure did. Off the 8th floor, and he left a note, but I didn't get to see the note. But yeah, he jumped off, and some students. He was a student at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in downtown Los Angeles, and
Hmm.
yeah, it was over a girlfriend, and some young girls from school were walking by, and they just heard uh,
Thud.
the thud, so they were the first ones to see him.
Yeah. How about Mark Vallejo from Storage Wars? Did you see him?
Who say
Do you
the
know
name
who
again?
that is? Mark
Oh yeah,
Vallejo.
yeah. He didn't die. He didn't come to us. I don't know where he
Oh,
went.
okay. Okay. Uh, let's see. I'll name some more. So Robin Williams, you said he wasn't there. He's in San
Yeah,
Diego,
he
or
was
what?
up north
Yeah,
San Francisco.
or San Francisco.
Yeah.
Lauren Bacall. Was she
New York,
Lauren? Okay.
and she was
Yeah.
not buried or not cremated. She wherever she went, they didn't bury her with Humphrey Bogart. People were sure that that was going to be what happened, but she wasn't.
Oh,
Because
really? Uh,
he's here at Forest Lawn, Glendale.
oh, maybe the family decided or something. How
Yeah,
about James Garner from the Rockford Files?
he's at
He's
Forest Lawn as well.
in Forest Hunt.
But he was not a
Um,
coroner.
yeah. How about Shirley Temple Black? Did she go through
She
there?
she's not here. She's not in this area. I don't know where she is, to tell you the truth. I
Okay.
mean, I knew at
I'm
one
naming
time.
off. Yeah, I'm naming off names for the years that you were there, just to see if
Okay.
maybe they came through there. Um, Elizabeth Taylor. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Elizabeth was at Forest Lawn, Glendale, and I have
Okay.
pictures of her being interred. I should send you that one as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Those pictures are. These pictures that you sent me are. I know that they're rare because I've looked into this stuff for decades, and there's some of this stuff like that Jayne Mansfield car crash. I mean, these are pictures that you usually only see with a black spot over. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Censored in some way, but these are totally uncensored. But yeah, Elizabeth Taylor, you said you
yeah,
have
and
pictures.
not of her body. She was not a coroner case, but when they interred her at in the Great Mausoleum at Forest Lawn, Glendale, she was interred under a statue, and I was there for the interment, and I snuck a picture.
Oh, did you? Cool. I'd love to see
Yeah, I'll
that.
send it to you.
Um, okay, Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis is in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Leslie Nielsen. Uh,
He's
let's,
back east somewhere. I'm not sure where.
okay. Let me see if I have any other. Oh, somebody asked about Whitney Houston's daughter. Did she go through there too, or
No,
is
no,
she?
she also did not die here.
Oh, because she was in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I think she
Yeah,
lived.
she's
Yeah.
married with mother. But yeah, she
Yep.
also drowned in the bathtub.
Yep. Somebody said Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, Mickey Rooney's
Um.
out at Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
All right. Let's see. Ryan Dunn from Jackass. He died accidentally in a high-speed crash. Was he in Los Angeles?
I don't recognize that name as any place. If he's here, it happened after I left.
Okay. Yeah, because he was. Yeah, can't remember.
I don't know what
How
year.
about yeah? He was 2010 or 2011. Oh, he was 2011.
Okay, well,
But
I don't remember him coming there. So
yeah,
I could just be. I mean, I've been 11 years removed, so I could have just forgot.
yeah. And Corey Haim, did he go through there?
He did not come here.
Okay. How about Gary Coleman when he filmed?
Um, it was. I don't remember where he was, but he didn't come. He's not buried anywhere around here.
All right.
But yeah, he was definitely a coroner's case, but not in my memory.
Okay. Let's see. Anybody else got questions? Let's see. Did her daughter? Yeah. Did you have anyone who had any rare diseases?
Uh Not that I recall. I mean, there were people who came in that had, like, well, COVID, they came in and
Yeah.
they're still contagious after they're gone. And they just had a separate place for the ones that came through, but it wasn't necessarily a celebrity.
So during the time of COVID, were you guys extra busy, or was it business as usual?
No, well, most of the time the deceased were under a doctor's care. They died in the hospital, so there
Oh yeah,
really was
yeah,
no reason for them to come in.
yeah.
But
That's true.
sometimes they had underlying health issues
Mhm.
that I mean, maybe they had bad lungs, or something that hastened their death, or made it easy for the coronavirus to take them. So some of those people were looked at, but they didn't obviously do drug things, or drug.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just stuff like that. I don't remember anybody coming in with Ebola, but that's probably happened.
Yeah, Ebola.
Yeah.
Somebody's asked about the singer Alea or
She didn't come.
Alea.
She was not here. She died
Yeah,
in
because
another country, as far as I
plane
know.
crash. A
Yeah.
plane crash, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been. So, how about, have you guys had any plane crash victims come in?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that usually like?
Well, some of them. Well, depending on if the plane is broken apart,
Or if
and it
it
was
burned?
a Pacoima plane crash. Another, one of them happened over a school. So, the parts of the plane and parts of the passengers came raining down on the schoolyard. And some of them, over houses, they found limbs and trees and on the roof of a couple houses. And, I mean, they were
Wow.
picking up all over the place. So, I mean, they were in bits and pieces.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, because so that plane crash would have had to been in Los Angeles County
Yeah, Los Angeles.
for you guys. Yeah. In order
Yeah.
to go through there. Yeah.
So, and depending how big the death scene is,
Mhm.
that's when the disaster team would go out, because if there was a lot of people, they would have to send them out, and they're wearing hazmat suits and doing their thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Protective gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. See if anybody. Let's see. Do we have any more questions?
I've been talking a long time, 2 hours. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope I was bored.
No, nobody's bored.
Okay.
I'm definitely not. I just want to see if I missed anybody. Because, yeah, I know you've been here kind of quite a while, so we're going to probably, we don't want to have you keep you too long. Let's see, how do you go about finding the cause of death if the bodies are badly burned? Like if someone burned then to cover up a crime.
Well, they still can be autopsied. I mean, usually any kind of burning you can still get to their organs. In Paul Walker's case, they were able to determine by the amount of smoke in his lungs how long he had lived before he passed, and it was just a matter of seconds. I mean, there was a little bit of smoke down his esophagus and into his lungs, just a little bit. So he lasted maybe a few minutes, maybe seconds or a minute or so. But yes, they can still tell. We had, and he's passed along now too, but Jose Hernandez was our fingerprinter, and he was the guy in the entire country that everybody went to, because he would be able to determine not cause of death, who they were on their fingerprints. And if somebody died in New York, they didn't ship the whole decedent here. They would
just the
snip off
fingers.
Yeah. And occasionally, once in a while, like at Halloween time, the news channels like to interview at the coroner's office, and just because it's oogie and spooky.
Yeah,
And you'll see footage of Jose doing fingerprints on just the fingers, but the news people don't say that. And you just have to look closely to see that he's just holding a finger.
Yeah, I've actually seen those, and they actually, like if the body has been gone for a while, deceased, it dries out, and he will actually rehydrate it in water or something, and get it back so there's fingerprints again. And yeah, he's just using the finger.
Yeah, and some people, I mean, drowning victims, are really hard to get prints from, which you'd think would be the opposite. But he developed a way to get fingerprints off people who had, passed in water.
Yeah, so, if you have your hands in water too long, it gets all crinkly and wrinkly.
Yeah,
Is that what the whole body looks like when they've been in water? Is the whole
like
body like that?
a big giant prune.
Is that?
Not that I've seen it. Usually they can become bloated, but depending on how soon they get to them, if they, yeah, I mean, the cadaver dog, Indiana Bones, could sniff cadavers underwater. They'd take her out on a little boat, and she could smell them coming up.
Really?
So they would get them kind of fast.
Indiana Bones?
Yeah, that was the dog. Poor thing. She passed in 2018. She was amazing. She was always spot on. And so some of the pictures I sent you were fire departments would bring their dogs. Now they searched for live people among they did it, of course, at the World Trade Center. That you could see the dogs looking for anybody who's alive. So those dogs are taught to find people who are still living, and the various fire departments would come, all would come at one time. And like I said, I sent those pictures. So you see dogs walking around in the big crypt, and they would hide one of their staff members within the bodies. And, and the smell of those bodies are pretty overpowering, but the dogs would always find them, always find the living people among those people in the crypt. And of course, it was a cadaver dog. And so she was able to find people who had passed, and she was very good at her job. But I was going to tell you, Natalie Wood. I didn't. I wasn't there for her. Yeah, I wasn't there but I saw all her files. And of course, believe you me, at the time that I was there, I went through every single one of those celebrity files, looking at what I could see.
I probably would have too. I would have too.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the Manson murders, the stack was so high you could sit on it. It was.
Right.
But Natalie Wood, I saw all of the photographs of what she looked like when they brought her in, and her outfits and stuff. And she'd been in the water for 11 hours, and she was immaculate. I mean, she was not pruny. Her eyes were clear. She was in a lumberjack flannel nightgown, black and red, and so she was like she was just had woken up. I mean, her eyes were open, but she was in no way discolored or anything. She was beautiful. She looked beautiful. So as far as people drowning in water, they don't always look bad. I mean, depending on how long they've been down.
Yeah, because I think they looked for her right away. Probably wasn't in there too long.
No, 11 hours. And there was nicks on her neck and also on her forearms. And they're not sure exactly what happened. They look defensive, but they also could be from her trying to climb back into the dinghy. So, something wasn't kosher there. I mean, she didn't just fall over and drown. I don't know if she was helped in the water or prevented from getting back in. I don't know. But,
I'm not sure. Your sound's kind of low, but it's doing for. Not
can
sure.
You hear it now? Okay.
Yeah. So when they come in, their eyes are open or closed?
Depends. Yeah. A lot of times they are. In Natalie Wood's case, if you took a photograph of her, she would look like she was just alive, sitting there still for the photograph. But no, she looked completely unharmed.
Unharmed, except you said a couple cuts on her hand and her neck.
Some little cuts on her neck and on her forearms.
Well, what do you think they were trying to say? It's from the prop of the boat, or they didn't determine? They don't know.
It's an educated assumption, but they couldn't prove it. It happened a couple of ways.
Yeah, somebody's asked about Ann Hesh, but that was 2022. It was after you were there. So, you know anything about her? Ann Hesh?
Well, I'm aware as much as anybody who watched the news.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that was after you there.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's see. Well, we could wrap it up for tonight. We're at 2 hours. I'm sure we probably have a lot more people that are going to have more questions. If you were able to come back, would you come back?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on your channel every time you go on. Like I said, I always do a Delta flight whenever I see the notification because I enjoy your lives the most.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see. So, yeah, I would love to have you come back. I'm going to work on my sound thing here. I think I'm going to order a microphone for my. Anyway, just I'm going to work on the sound because I know it kind of goes in and out. Grace said, "What's your professional opinion of cemetery fences? Are they keeping them in or keeping them out?"
Yeah, and I will tell you, I have been locked in more than one cemetery in my career. You know,
Really?
after the cemetery closed. You know, they didn't, for some reason, didn't notice I was in there. So that's happened a few times.
How do you get out? Call the people?
Yeah, there's usually a phone number that you can call, and they would just come back and let me out. Yeah.
So, you know what I said yesterday? I said that, or whenever I was talking to you, I said, the LA County medical examiner is so popular and so well loved that people are just dying to get in.
Yeah, that chestnut doesn't get old either. They used to have a much beloved gift shop, but which was especially around Christmas and Halloween was very well attended to. But unfortunately, the last administration there thought it was unbecoming, so they closed it down, which was a big shame.
Yeah.
I think that's a shop, but not LA anymore. It's a shame.
Okay, so next time you come on, maybe we'll do it in a few days or something. Or whenever you're available.
Yeah,
and I will pull up the pictures, some more pictures. I still have to go through and look at each one of them. I know some of them might be too graphic. I don't know if I can censor them, but man, are they interesting. Wow. The pictures in the morgue and all that. Yeah, so anyway, I still want to go through them, figure out how I can censor them, and so I don't get a strike or anything like that. But yeah, I would love to have you back because we have so much more to go through. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up because we're at 2 hours, and I just don't want to have you too long because I know it can kind of be a lot. So especially if you're not used to it. So anyway, I really appreciate you, Jayne. I appreciate you coming on here. It's fascinating. A lot of people on my channel are really interested in this stuff. I have been, my whole life. Remember all the way back to Jack Klugman. What was that? Quincy. Remember the show Quincy? He was Quincy medical examiner. Did you watch that?
Oh yeah. I'm 60. I'll be 65 in about 7 days. So yeah, I've been around a while.
Well, happy birthday to you. Happy early birthday. Anyway, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I watched that when I was a kid. So I've been really interested in this stuff. So yes, Grace said, round of applause for Jayne. Thank you so much.
Grace.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody's saying thank you to you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm glad you found this interesting. When we first started, I was nervous that you guys would be bored.
No, nobody's bored. Nobody's bored. And I'm sure by the time you come back, we'll schedule another one. When you come back, they'll have time to come up with some more questions. And if they're saying what a neat interview. Yes, everybody enjoyed your company here. So we thank you so much, Jayne. You don't have to get off You don't have to hang up or anything. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody, and you
Okay,
and I can talk for a second after I say goodbye. So we're going
okay.
to end it with everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming in, and
Thank you.
we'll see you next time.
Okay.